my drinks down in the club. I always keep that shit on top.
Let's get it, baby.
Sweats like a disco ball. I dance like I don't give a fuck. I flush my drinks down in the club. I always keep that shit on top.
Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of High Top Sports. It is the best day of the week, and I'm telling you, I know I say this, and I know I also always say this, we have a jam-packed show, a lot to go over today. Let's run down the list of what's going to happen here and what we're going to be discussing here today. So first order of business, we've got a special guest. Mr. Jalen Wiggins, recently committed to the Florida Gators, will be joining us today, ladies and gentlemen. Then we're going to be discussing a possible 2024 commit heading our direction. So stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss it. Should be pretty exciting. Then Stricklin to A&M. A lot of rumors. We also have Allie Peak joining the show. She's going to be giving her thoughts and opinions about that. So we'll see how that plays out. Then we're going to be doing a draft. This is a fun little game that I wanted to do about our favorite breakout players heading into 2024. And then we're going to be discussing all things around the league. So, like I said, a jam-packed show. But before we get into any of that, let's go ahead and introduce the co-host for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Staying at 6'5", 240. Throwing up 15K. Can outbench Mark Hawk, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. David Sloterquist. What's going on, big dog? How are you?
Good, man. I've been cold. It's been around like 10, 11, maybe 20 degrees down here in North Georgia here. But hey, we're always hot here on High Top. Let's get it. Let's go.
Yes, sir. It's been a frosty one, boys and girls. And now, let's go ahead and introduce the other guest for this evening, the actual champion, the actual national Wilbur champion, Miss Allie Peak. How are you doing, Allie?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. Thank you for joining the show. I told people it's going to be spicy, and obviously we expect a lot of spice from you, Allie, so don't be holding any punches on us, all right?
Listen, I promise not to disappoint.
I love it. Now, we're going one more for you guys tonight. We're bringing out all the stops. Recently committed, actually stands at 6'5" and 245 pounds, and probably outbenches David as well, Mr. Jalen Wiggins. How we doing, Jalen?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
We're doing fantastic, man. We were just talking before the show. We really appreciate you, one, coming on the show, and two, committing to the Florida Gators for 2025. We're really happy to have you, man. Welcome to the family.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Let's dive right into it, man. We were talking. You had a little bit of practice earlier today. I want to dive into, just Florida. Why Florida? I know you recently visited this weekend. You got to meet defensive line coach Gerald Chapman. I'm biting at the bits to get some feeling and understanding of who he is, what he's bringing to the table. How did that conversation and how did meeting him go for you?
I mean, meeting him went well. I spoke with him the week before on the phone. Just kind of chop it up, and I would let him know that I was going to be there. He was just saying he was excited to meet me for the first time. I went down, talked with him. He's very energetic, and like having that experience from pro ball, it kind of takes into account from college. I can tell that he knows what he's doing, and just having conversation with him, it was always a good time to talk with him as well. Even going through just the whole campus visit and everything, it was really fun.
I love hearing that, man. And I do, obviously, the big question, why Florida? What was so intriguing to you? And also committing, some people may think it's early. I think it's right on time. But what really made you lock in with Florida this past week?
Well, I've been a lifelong fan for the longest anyway. My grandfather was a Florida fan. My dad was a Florida fan, and it kind of passed on to me and my brother. And, it's always been something that, I've always loved. As far as why, I took that visit. I was talking with Coach Napier. We had a one-on-one conversation, just talking about, what do we expect throughout, school and, football as general, just how you kind of piece those together and how Florida is kind of a great place for that as well. And also being able to speak with the players as well. We got a chance to hear from some of the players why they actually made their decision to actually make that decision to come to Florida. And just hearing different backgrounds from people different around the country, it seemed great because it's not just a football matter. It comes into education as well, and some people who may not even have that strong educational side it has different types of backgrounds, different types of advantages to where it makes it so much easier to balance that out.
Absolutely. And you said you talked to a few of the players. Which players had the biggest impact on you, and just obviously in relation to like, hey, he fits my scheme, or I like what he's doing thus far. I want to follow in his footsteps.
I mean, when we were down there, let me see. I know we got a chance. Like we were talking to Kelby Collins, Justice Boone, as well. Like especially like coming from that defensive lineman place. I know also got a chance. Like I saw LJ McCray up there as well.
Cool.
Kind of hearing them talk. I know I heard Kelby talking about how his decision to come actually came from like not wanting to kind of stay in Alabama, wanting to kind of find some place to stay, finding a home. And when he came to Florida, he found out that's what it was. And, it just came to be a place that he loved. And also with Boone, he said it was kind of a place where he didn't even really expect himself to be. Like he didn't think that, he could kind of get into Florida. But, the staff support was kind of amazing for him to be able to have this chance to play. And I know with him being hurt and him coming back, he just said he's even more excited to play.
I love that. I hear a lot about Kelby Collins always being in recruits here. He's always a big advocate for why Florida. So I just love it. Excited to hear that. And Justice Boone, we're excited to see what he's able to do coming back from injury. What is, I'm sure you've met with Austin Armstrong, and I with other recruits that we spoke with. I think a great job these coaches do is having conversations with recruits and showing how you fit into their scheme. Was that a conversation that you had with Chapman and Coach Armstrong, and what was it that they talked about with you?
Yes, sir. Actually, because actually before the visit Friday, Coach Armstrong actually came down to the school to see me, and we talked kind of about that. He saw me kind of like in the F position, being able to actually be versatile with what I do, more than just kind of down, hand down, but more like dropping back into coverage maybe, or even like just coming off the edge outside even a little bit further. I know even talking with Coach Chapman and Coach Peterson, I know they said like that'll be kind of one thing working me in between both of them at the time. Kind of being like that F player or even maybe a J player. Just kind of seeing how I feel out and everything. See how everything kind of goes. But yes, sir.
Hey, I love it. And now I do want to talk too. I mean, your senior season's coming up. I always like to ask, what are some personal goals from you? And when you were talking before the show, you guys went 3-7 last year, but we're moving to a new year this year. What are some major focuses for you on the field that you're hoping to accomplish? Again, being a top 100 commit. I said it on my show when you committed. I was fired up. I said, I see this young man trending in the upward direction, and I'm obviously a big senior season would help with that.
Right. I mean, just this senior season, I want to kind of, take more advantage of it. Like I said, even like with the Florida class, I just want to be able to have that chance to lead. I kind of took that into consideration even last year. I just know that this year, I just want to kind of, make sure that we can be able to dominate, even like not even just to the point where it's like we have to, kind of put down our opponents, but just know what we have to do, execute, and then just make this certain plays. I just want to be able to know that we can have a winning season this year, end up making it to the playoffs, and actually making it to state. I feel like we have the chance to do that as well.
And you spoke about leadership, and I saw a quote where you look in. I spoke to this earlier, committing early. I mean, it's not early. It feels early because 2025 feels so far away. But to building a healthy and strong class, you've got to put pieces and leaders in place early on. And I mean, just by talking to you thus far, I already get that vibe of like, hey, Miles Graham, DJ Lagway, those are the guys that kind of took the torch last year. Is that your plan for this year? You're taking that torch. Hey, 2025 is my year. Let's go bring this thing to a top 5 class.
Yeah, that was actually my mindset going into it as well. You know, I feel like being able to kind of choose early and like, go ahead and getting that started off, you can pick and choose who all you would kind of want to be in your class, because like usually whenever you commit late or even sign late, it kind of just takes that toll on you to where you're just stuck with whoever you have or whatever you have. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you kind of want to like be able to know who's all in that family with you going into that year. And being able to like commit early and going able to see who all comes into that class, being able to actually talk with them, have conversations, get to know them a lot better. It kind of, that's the one thing that pushes you into, a better chemistry for the next season.
So, look, I got tell me if I'm wrong here, but this was something that I preached last year because this Napier and staff, they pushed this last year. They had a lot of guys commit early. A lot of them were going to barbecues and to the games. And I was like, look, this is huge in my opinion for recruiting because you're building that family atmosphere, something that is you can get that in the off season. It's almost like a cheat code because you're not coming in December just meeting the guys for the very first time. Is that something that they kind of spoke to you about? It's like, hey, here's what we're trying to build, or is that just you also wanting that at the same time? Because it's you're spot on to what they're doing. I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of both at the same time because, I mean, with any team, usually you have a new staff coming in. It usually takes about a good like 3-4 years to kind of get it rolling, really. And, just kind of being able to start that early and get into like that early recruiting process. That's what actually builds trust. When it comes to like the transfer portal now, you have so many people leaving, going in and out. It's like that usually doesn't show. I mean, it's not like it doesn't show commitment. It usually comes up to certain circumstances, but you didn't see this a couple of years ago, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And, now that we have the availability of it, for you to be able to start early, build that relationship and know like, yeah, we're locked in, we're built into this program, not just for whether it be money or, advantages or anything, just being able to kind of like grow that relationship early is really what Florida's doing.
I see Allie has a question. I could just see it ready to bust. Go ahead, Allie. I know you got to go in for
You
this
know,
one.
I love what you're saying, and I am a third generation Gator as well, and so I feel like you've committed to the school, you've committed to the program, and that's kind of rare for where we are in college football right now. So you're the perfect person to make the pitch to your peers. But if you're trying to sell Florida to a guy from, let's say, like Virginia or California, what is your pitch going to be for why Florida?
Well, when I think of Florida, whenever anybody thinks of Florida, actually, you always think about it as, the number one school, public school, just in general. It's everything school, like they always say. It doesn't just take football, it just, you can be able to do anything there, whether it be if you want to go into medicine or dentistry or engineering, whatever it is, you can take both the football and the education wise, you can both take that into account. You can always do something great with that. I know there are many places you can also do that, but being here, it also kind of adds for like, entertainment as well. Florida has maybe like an hour, 2 hours maybe away from like some of the three biggest cities in Florida. And that kind of sets you up in like kind of one of the perfect places to be if you want to just take vacations or do whatever. And that's just one thing that you got to think about when it comes to Florida.
Y'all, I'm making my commitment now. He sold me. Um, okay, let's talk a little bit more about your upcoming high school season. And, you touched on it a little bit, but is there anything this staff has told you that they want you to work on this upcoming season to make the transition easier for when you get to college? There's a big jump from high school to college, no matter what classification you're playing high school ball at.
Right. I mean, it wasn't even them telling me. It was kind of me telling them because I know like personally myself what I want to work on. Last year I kind of took into account working more hand wise, working more hand technique and explosion off the ball. And, that's kind of one thing I took from the off season and also I implemented into my game. This year I kind of want to go more into, I want to work more with my hands, definitely, but also want to work on my balance. I've been working a lot of hip mobility, trying to get my hips as loose as possible. Working with that as well. And that's really my main thing, kind of getting my body in like, I guess I would say a college state. You can do all the technique and everything, but when it comes to like actually training your body, that's what you do when you get to college. And I want to be able to make sure I'm ready for when that time comes.
Dave, what you got?
Sounds like he's ready already to come play.
I know. I'm like, listen, I'm ready to buy the jersey. I'm ready for him to suit up.
Yeah.
I want an entire class of Jalen's.
Yeah, yeah, like just a whole class of Jalen's would be perfect. Speaking of that, though, I mean, you said you talked to players, coaches, of course, at the University of Florida. Do you talk to anybody from like the 2024 class, and what kind of has been their pitch to them or your pitch? What do you guys talk about in the 2024 class? Do you talk to any of those guys?
I haven't actually got much of a chance to talk to them much. I know I saw a couple of them when I went on the visit, but I just want to kind of start like now, since I know that most of them are in like early enrolling. I want to kind of talk to them more, see how like their season going, because I know that could probably be like that would be like the situation that I go into. So kind of seeing how they first started going into early enrollment, seeing how it's working out, because it seems like they're doing a perfect job. Like they're doing great. They actually seem like they're having fun and enjoying themselves. And I just want to know what that's kind of feeling like.
Yeah. The coaching has changed a little bit since 2023. You're probably better off in 2024 talking to those guys. You're in the home state of Florida State. You're in Tallahassee there. Obviously you visited Miami, you visited Tallahassee, and I know you grew up as a Florida fan. You talked about that, but what really was the ultimate decision in choosing Florida over the other two in the Big Three?
I mean, I feel like it was just mainly the just relationship wise. I talk a lot with Coach Napier, even like personally. Like I would talk to him one on one. He would kind of send me stuff from time to time. Also, just even their education wise, like going back on that, the way they kind of
Yeah.
set their students up for like success is amazing. The way they have the Hawkins Center to kind of help with tutoring, make sure kids are actually doing their work, make sure that kids actually come into Hawkins Center for tutoring. If they need it, or actually, if not, even if they don't need it, it's just something that is there for help anyways. And you can be set for anything you need, but still you have that extra assistance that kind of you don't see a lot of places.
Yeah, and when a lot of these, I call them kids because I'm almost 40. So if I call you a kid, don't take any disrespect by that because I'm just old. But when kids visit Florida, obviously they get to see the facilities, they get to see the stadium, they get to see everything that the Hebner Center and what it provides. What was like your favorite thing that you saw like on the trip? What did you take away from just I guess maybe some of the structures, the buildings? I mean, what was like your favorite part of it?
I would probably say my favorite part. Oh man, I mean, I love the new facility that they built. That new facility they just got a couple years ago. I really do love that. But even on top of that, like I was really amazed by the Hawkins Center. Just like how structured it is, how everything's kind of planned out, set up in different types of ways. Just to prepare you in all types of ways, whether it be like public speaking or even like just working on projects or working one on one in like small groups. It kind of like that is one thing that I'm kind of big on anyways, education wise, because I usually see myself lots of times doing work late night, and just having that help with you is kind of like that one takeaway that kind of will take most of that stress away from students and kind of lead them on to a path of success.
Yeah, come on. I know you like that pool now. Come on now.
The lazy river.
uh,
So,
I love that. I do. I really do.
so Jalen, you
So,
alluded. Go ahead. Sorry, Dave.
oh, go ahead. Just one more, and then you go ahead.
Yep, go ahead.
Now, you're committed to the class. DJ Lagway, he committed early to the class. I think he was the first piece besides Miles Graham to come into the 2024 class. So now that you're here, obviously you're one of the first ones that's committed too. Are you talking to anybody, trying to get them to come and visit? I mean, is it can you say anything right now? You gotta give us a hint, man. You gotta give us
Come on,
something.
Jalen.
I'm working. I'll let you know that, but I can't really say who. I'll just let you know that I'm working.
We'll take it.
There you
Look,
go.
so, you alluded earlier to it takes a couple years for coaches to get their feet wet and to build this program. So it's no secret that we're in this building process. It's no secret where we were for the last 2 years, but it's also you can kind of see where things are headed with a generational quarterback like DJ Lagway, with the guys that are coming in, and LJ McCray. Big time pickups. I compared you to an LJ McCray in the sense that I see you having exponential growth this season. Just again, given the fact where LJ was at the beginning of last year, right? And so, what is it again? Like if kind of back to Ali's question, hey, it feels like things aren't going the right direction. How do you overcome guys that may say that to you that you're trying to recruit? And again, you committed for a reason, right? Because you're saying, hey, look, no need to fear. We're going to make this thing happen.
I mean, just kind of going back onto those guys, you just kind of want to take it into consideration. I may not be like even like to that level yet, and I know I'm gonna work to get to that level. And I feel like that's one thing that could ultimately like lead to help other recruits that I may end up talking to or may end up getting them to this point. I could kind of like guide them into that way, into like, you see where I'm at in the position I'm in, would you want to come help contribute, or, if you want to just be a part of the family, whatever it may be, it's just, something that you kind of got to take into account. And that's one thing I do want to work on as well. I know it's like, for me, it's personally not that important for like ranking wise. People are gonna have rankings. Different types of websites are gonna have different opinions and all. But just me, I just want to make sure I be the best me I can be. But as far as that goes, being higher up on that list would kind of help out, as well as like recruiting wise, helping people get in.
For sure. Absolutely. Look, man, I want to have people, have a chance to follow you. So love for you to tell them where they can find you at, but also quick rapid round, just some fun questions here. Who's going to win the Super Bowl out of who's left?
Ooh, I'll say 49ers.
Okay. Okay. Is that your heart telling you, or is that your like, that's my pick, but my heart says this?
I'll just say that's just my pick, but I feel like in my heart I would maybe say, ooh, I don't know.
Like, is that who you
That's a
want,
good
the
question.
49ers, or do you like, or that's who you think is going to win? You know what I mean?
I just feel like that's who's gonna win. I just think that's who's gonna win. I know my team's out anyway, so I'm kind of.
Who's your team?
I love the Steelers, man. I really
Oh,
do.
tough
Yeah.
loss. Hey, I think Tomlin's good to stay though. I know there's some rumors about him
Yeah,
leaving.
definitely.
Think you're good with your head coach. Favorite song right now? Your go-to jam.
Favorite song. I love Rod Wave. I guess I would probably say, No Deal by Rod Wave. No Deal.
Favorite meal? Like, come home, mama's like, hey, I had a bad day, mama. That's what I need right now to make me feel better. What is it?
I would probably say sesame chicken. I love Chinese food. I really do.
Okay. And then guilty pleasure. What's your guilty snack? When you're not a meal, but like a snack.
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's probably brownies. My dad makes mean brownies. I love when he makes them. I really do.
And then favorite NFL player, and then I'll let you go, man. I appreciate you.
Favorite NFL player, T.J. Watt, hands down.
Bro, there was something in me telling me I was like, it's gonna be one of the Watt brothers. I don't know what it is, but when I asked, just kind of fit that vibe. Obviously, a Steeler player.
Yeah, those two are the ones I really love. Both of them. I mean, I love JJ like for his size and his dominance, but like TJ's quickness, like it's crazy.
TJ is a absolute blast to watch, man. Well, again, Jalen, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on here and chopping it up with us. Please tell them where they can find you on Twitter and Instagram, wherever it may be, so they can give you support and follow you throughout your senior season.
Yes, sir. You can find me on Twitter at WigginsJalen06, capital W, capital J. And you can find me on Instagram at D1_.Jalen.
Awesome. Thank you, Jalen. Hey, can we get a Go Gators before you go?
Yes, sir. Go Gators. Hey. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, man. You have a good night.
Yes, sir. You too.
Thank you.
Sure, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Jalen Wiggins, top 100 commit. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview. Fantastic stuff. I mean, that's got to fire you up. He says, everything you want to hear from a Gator commit. You know what I mean? So I loved it.
I love him so much. I love him so much. He says the things that we wanted players to say 10 years ago. He's not a mercenary. I am here for Jalen Wiggins.
You know what's
Yes.
just what I love too is we've interviewed a few with DJ Fletcher Westfall, not everybody, but when you interview these guys, that common core of like, hey, it's an everything school. I love it. It's more than just football. And again, there's a big component to that. Getting to speak with Major Wright, I've talked about this a couple times on the show. When I interview with him, these guys, they just football, and it ends 28-30, and they realize like there's so much more to life. You're still extremely young, and so if you don't have that background or somebody showing you like, hey, yes, football is everything right now, and it's going to be something, but it's not as long as a career as it may appear at the moment. It's very short-sighted that, hey, this place gives you the tools, because after the fact, there is going to be an after effect, no matter what you do. So good stuff. I love hearing that from those guys.
Years ago when Charlie Strong was at Florida, both under Zook and under Meyer, there every once in a while there would be a recruit that he would have me talk to. And one of the ones that he had me talk to, and actually, oh well, there's been several, but they want to know, like, if it's not a kid that is down for the party scene, or not a kid that, is looking for the national championship, but is really looking for the whole picture. I would always tell them, like, you commit to a program, a school. You don't commit to a coach or a scheme or whatever. And I know that there are exceptions to that rule. Obviously, you're a dual threat quarterback. You don't want to go to an offense that isn't going to suit your skill set or something like that. But in general, you should be committing to the school, to the program, not to something as finite as a coach. And it's really kind of refreshing to see that there are some kids out there that's what they're looking for, the everything school, not the coach who tells his collective to offer me the most money.
Spicy.
Yeah.
Spicy
I
Alley
mean,
has
that's
arrived.
that's just so hard to. I was just gonna say it's so hard to find like somebody that's that genuine in the NIL era, because I mean,
It's
a
refreshing.
lot, and I don't blame like somebody that's 17, 18 years old. You flash a lot of money in front of them, it's pretty tempting. There's some out there that are just, hey, I know where I want to go, and I don't care what they offer me or whatever. I want to go here, and I know I want to spend 4 years here at the University of Florida. Hopefully 3, if they're good, go to the NFL, but definitely 4.
Absolutely. Let's move on to our next topic of discussion here. Deontay Robinson. So this is an interesting one. What's funny, Allie, is you and I actually spoke about this young man on your show just the other night. Allie had me on. It was an absolute blast. If you guys haven't seen that, go check it out on her channel. It's on her live tab. But the reason we were talking about him is he was looking to get out of his letter of intention with Texas. It hadn't happened when you and I spoke, Allie. It has now happened, I think, yesterday, I believe, or the day before, which is a weird thing. It's like a Jaden Rosado situation all over again. And the ability to pull out of your letter of intent is just, it's insane. Like, there's nothing's actually committed, even when it's signed anymore. Like, nothing's guaranteed. So he, it's nuts. So he announced that he would be out of his letter of intent, and then just moments later, he was crystal balled to Florida. Now, for anybody that wasn't following along, like we have been, obviously, and this is what Al and I spoke about when he was getting ready for his commit. We did a watch party here in High Top. I had Dave in my ear saying this guy's a lock. We were prepared. I had my show prepared for Deontay Robinson to become a Gator, and then boom, he ends up going to Texas. Mm-hmm. So we feel really, really good about this. I do remember too, during the recruiting process, his mother posting about how much a great time they had at Florida. So this seems like this always was kind of home in a sense. But this would be a huge pickup for 2024. And if we are able to land him, would take us from the 16th overall class to 12. And there are a few Bama commits that could be on the lookout because of the Saban situation that could crack us into the top 10. And all of a sudden, we're back.
Yeah. Right? I mean, listen, I'll tell all the lies too if we pick up some people right here. But you know what? This is a huge position of need. It's somebody we did think we were getting, the first time around. I think we were all caught off guard when it wasn't Florida when he announced. So I don't know what changed in the 11th hour or whatever. And I don't know what's changed now, but I will tell you that we'll take him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of weird. I mean, like when you looked at the recruitment and all signs were pointing at Florida. He changes to Texas, and you're thinking obviously something was involved. You're thinking money. You're thinking NIL.
Right.
Maybe he got there, had a change of heart, said, "Hey, look, this is where my heart's at anyway." I don't know what the reason is or why, but with him getting crystal ball to Florida, as you said, moving up from 16 to 12, obviously that helps the ranking. I'm more of a guy that looks at the average player and what position of need that we need. I could care less about what the ranking says. So it will be a good pickup because it is a huge position of need. This is a guy that's climbed in his recruiting ranking too. He's almost in that top 250 composite. He's around the top 200, 150 and some other sites and all that. So it is a good pickup, especially at a position of need. And, I will be excited if he does commit to Florida.
Now, something too that happened today that I'm not saying this is what happened, but Texas obviously has signed a buttload of kids here in the past few days, stealing from the likes of Bama and other portal additions. And obviously, look, we know that this thing's a whole money grab right now. Texas is just, I don't know if Texas has extra scholarships because I feel like they just keep adding players, and I'm like, they've got to hit 85 eventually. I don't know what's happening. They signed like a 25 plus class, plus they've landed another 20 out of the portal. I don't know. It's weird. But Walter Nolan put on his Instagram. Someone shared it in the Discord. Hey, y'all, make sure you guys read over your contract with Texas A&M. Now, I know this isn't Texas, but again, Texas A&M landed that massive class. They had this big surge, and then they had everybody leaving. Could we see? I mean, look, my reason for saying this is that we could be seeing this happen with a lot of kids that you see going to one school and then flooding out. It's not, they're being over promised and nothing's being delivered. And also, the point I speak to that is because people are getting frustrated with Florida not acting or doing a lot of things. But again, we've talked about this time and time again. If we value player at X, we offer player X. Somebody else will over offer them because that's just the name of the game. There is no salary cap. We're just going to at least promise you. Whether that player gets it or not, I don't know. And I think that might be happening. It's gonna come out eventually, and it's better to do good business early on because that bad business will start to.
That's what everybody else offers.
Say that again.
Is it over offering though? If that's what everybody else offers?
True. You're saying like if we offer player X 100 and everyone else offers him 200.
Somebody overpays, but if there's 3 people willing to overpay and we're not, are they overpaying or are they paying market value? And we're not.
Right.
I wasn't prepared for these hard questions, Allie. We did this wasn't pre-gamed. I don't.
I'm just, theoretically, we keep hearing so-and-so's overpaying or so-and-so's overpaying. And listen, I don't love this. I don't love the idea that we're paying 18, 19, 20-year-old kids before we've even seen what they can do on the field, stupid amounts of money and there's no regulation. And then we're asking, the average fans to pay for it. I don't love any of that, but that is where we are at this moment. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I want to win. So like, can we overpay?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I think that there's a very, very strong not knowing of what actual fair market value is. Like, I feel like somebody should study what kids are getting paid at other universities at certain positions, what star rating, how they're rated, and come up with okay, well, they're offering this on average, they're offering that on average. Maybe we need to offer a little bit more. I think that's a big issue there. It's like, because I hear from, obviously we know there's somebody on Twitter that's a big booster talking about we're overpaying and we're not going to overpay. Well, when you have millions of Alabama players going to the portal and you have some Georgia players going to the portal and you have like these top 5 transfer portal guys going there and they're going to pretty much almost the same schools or you're getting outbid by somebody else, maybe there's an issue there. Maybe you got to figure that out instead of just sitting there and telling people on Twitter that they're wrong. But that's just me.
So look, I mean, I'm going to push back a little bit. Just take it easy on me, Allie. Okay, it's still early. Look, I don't disagree with what you're saying. Like, hey, are we overpaying? I do believe, like, hey, I think you made a good point, Dave. Like, there's an analytical guy. There should be a market managing guy. Like, hey, this is what these guys are being paid. I also think the portal guys are taking advantage of its supply and demand. And hey, there's very few like offensive linemen. They've got to be eaten. Like, if Caden Proctor just hit, like, but hey, you go get your meal. You know what I mean? So those, my opinion, those guys definitely should be taking advantage of it. Wide receivers, I'm not losing sleep over. How I'm looking at this right now is it should be comparable to the NFL. And wide receivers and running backs are a dime a dozen. They're and this isn't any disrespect. It's just simple as a matter of fact. They're easier to replace in other positions. And if you're starting to realize who's getting the big bucks in the NFL now, obviously quarterbacks, they always get paid. Edge rushers, defensive linemen, guys that are going to be game-changing playmakers every single down, right? An edge rusher is going to impact the play every single time. Wide receivers is not impacting the play every single play. And running backs maybe a little more because if they can block, we had a guy that didn't block very well. So that is, to me, in my opinion, where the money should be going. All we've had thus far that's visited that hasn't come through are wide receivers, and now there has been a few other too, and cornerbacks. So, which we are in need of, but we also have a lot of young talent. So that's where I support this is my sunshine pumping here, and I think it's good that we have two sides to this to have a nice, healthy dialogue. Because usually, look, I'm always pumping sunshine, so I'm kind of glad that you're on the other end of this, pushing back. It's healthy. I think that with the, sorry, I lost my ears there. With the cornerbacks and with the spin that is happening, again, I don't know what the cost is for those guys, but could be a little overspending.
Yeah. I mean, and that's possible, right? And yeah, we need somebody doing market research telling us what these 18-year-olds and their positions are valued at and are worth at this moment. And the reality is, we can only spend what we have, too, right? And I think we referred to some stuff that was talked about on Twitter today. And while I don't agree with shaming fans into donating money to our NIL, I understand the concept that the pot's the pot, right? It's the size that it is. And so you have to prioritize and go after what you can afford. And it may be that we need more support for that NIL to be able to afford the pieces that are going to be immediate, game changers for us, because that's what Florida's looking for, right? Like, we need some plug and play guys we can get in here for the next upcoming season that can help us get, at the very least, bowl eligible, because otherwise then we're starting over again, right? Like, we need guys that can be immediate impacts, but if we can't afford them, I don't know what we're supposed to do there. If that's the difference maker, right? I don't know how you convince kids who are only in the portal for a payday to take what we can afford.
And I think that's the biggest thing with the portal is we're able to get guys that can make an impact now, and we know they will. With the guys upcoming, like you said, even the DeAndre Robinson, although it would be exciting to win in 2024, we're not going to see the guy. He's not going to touch the football field next year and make an
Right.
impact.
Right. Right. There's lots of guys that I'm super excited about that we just signed or that we will be signing in these upcoming class. But what you're saying is exactly right. The reality is they're gonna need a year or two to develop before we really see 95% of these guys. So you're looking for your experienced talent in the portal, and that is going to cost you.
Allie, I just saw your message. I didn't realize you had to go, so I apologize.
That-
She's
That's all right. Let's talk really quick about the Texas A&M thing, and then I'll jump over.
yeah, we do have to go over that real quick. Super $10 from Savo Fleming. I'm actually gonna come back to that because we can talk about that once Allie goes. So let's hop into Scott Stricklin. So there has been rumored that he has been hot topic for Texas A&M to be their AD. I'm gonna read a quote and then pass it to Allie because Allie had a video about it today. I'm gonna let her go out on that, but. Here is his quote from Nick Del Torre on 3. It says, the University of Florida is the best job in the country for college athletics. Strickland told Gators Online, it's the best location. It's the best school. We've got an awesome fan base. I love being a Gator, and I have no interest in working somewhere else at this time. Very interesting wording there, at this time. Guy knows what he's doing. So it didn't really shut anything down, but it definitely silenced the rumors for now. But Allie, I'll pass it over to you because you did discuss it today on the rumor mill of him possibly headed over to A&M, and it got Gator Nation pretty excited. But tell us why we shouldn't maybe not be so excited.
Oh, well, here's the reality. It's message board rumors, right? Social media rumblings. Supposedly some of the people that it came from are somewhat connected or, are generally right on the things that they choose to share, but it's still no more than a message board rumor at this exact moment. I did a video on it because, there's some pros and cons to this. And, we've talked about multiple times, both on the air and also privately, about the just kind of the pervasive I guess I don't rumors not necessarily the right word, but like the Florida fan base feels that Florida's UAA has not fully embraced NIL. Now, do we know for 100% fact that that's not true? We don't, but we also don't publicly see the support for it that we do see from other universities. So it leads us to come to that conclusion. So if Scott Stricklin makes the jump to Texas A&M and we bring in a brand new athletic director with potentially new ideas and new opinions on NIL, we're going to have the opportunity to test that theory, right? To be able to see, is Napier being held back by an athletic director that isn't willing to keep up with the times in reference to NIL? And, that would be an interesting thing to see. I think the con, at the very least for Napier, is that the seat gets hotter with a new athletic director. He has no loyalty to the coach that he's coming in with, right? And lots of athletic directors like to create their own staff, make their own hires for their coaches, because ultimately they're going to live and die by the successes of those coaches. So there's a chance that he's looking for a reason to get rid of Napier. So, kind of a double-edged sword there. Napier could have more NIL leniency, could have more NIL support, but he also could have a shorter rope. So there is pros and cons to this situation, for sure. And for Texas A&M, they're looking at it and they're like, okay, Florida was fifth last year with the President's Cup. They have a top 5 all-around athletic program. Look at this baseball complex. Look at this standalone football facility. He's brought in a lacrosse program. You can look at the fundraising he's done for the issues that are important to him, the buildings that he has built, and I could see why from the outside that would be incredibly attractive to another, big time program.
So, and you kind of mentioned too, again, on paper, he looks like a fantastic AD because across the board, we're doing a great job. So, uh, if it were to happen,
Right.
are you pro Strickland to A&M because you want to see a new touch to what's happening?
Yeah, I feel it feels very stale at the moment. I
Okay.
feel like we're kind of stagnant, and maybe it's not Strickland, right? Maybe it's not, but I'm willing to shake something up to see what it could be. And I don't love the idea of 2 years and out for a football coach. I do think that programs take time. I know we're in a what have you done for me lately phase of college football, and there are other programs that have turned it around very quickly. But I would love for Napier to have the 4-ish years that he was promised, but he's got to have the tools and resources to fully lay out and execute his plan. And if there's anybody holding back his ability to do so, I would love for them to take a job at Texas A&M.
Dave?
Yeah, I'm fully on board for him to take the job at Texas A&M. Just fully on board, fully on
It,
board.
like I said, it is interesting. Again, it's a little bit of a rumor mill. Message boards get a little spicy. The fact that Nick Del Toro chose to go in and get this interview shows that there probably was a little more heat than it just being a message board drama news. Again, going back to his quote, it is a very like an interesting quote. It's a very, my opinion, a politically well answered quote.
Time. And then he's going to be able to say, in 2 days, if it wasn't at this time, now's a new time.
Yeah, and again, like all these things, University of Florida is the best job in the country for college athletics. Not like you're not defending it, right? It's the best. It's the best location. Sure, it's the best school we've got. It's the best school. We've got an awesome fan base, and I love being a Gator. Like nothing like I never want to be elsewhere. Also, too, I mean, look, that's not him saying he's not going to take the job because you always have to kind of keep your door open to go elsewhere. So that's kind of a thought process as well too. So we'll see. It's an interesting one. A&M has it's weird what's going on with this A&M thing. Like this thing is that they're going after our players, our coaches, our AD. Like either we have no clue what we're doing with these people, and A&M's like, hey, they're idiots, or A&M is just dumb. I don't know which one it is yet. We'll find out probably in a year or so though on how this thing is rolling out.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, like somewhere else at this time. Okay. Like Scott is very, very like scripted with his answers. Like you always get like a very scripted answer. But like this one's very scripted as well. But like when you read that last line, makes you think a little bit.
Well, Allie,
Definitely.
I know you got to go. So thank you. You're going to miss the draft, which I'm upset about. So I did it. I
Well,
created it.
I'll text you my picks.
Fair enough. So text me your order, and if it gets picked, I'll plug. So give me like your top 10 if you can. That'd be greatly appreciated, and we'll
All
figure
right,
it out.
Okay.
Thanks,
right.
Allie.
I'll talk to you guys later.
See ya. All right, guys. Thank you for Allie for hopping on there. You guys know where to follow her, Allie Peak. She didn't get a chance to show some love or to hit the subscribe button. But guys, great show. 700 people in here thus far. We had Jalen Wiggins on earlier. We talked Scott Stricklin going to A&M. Thank you for Allie on her thoughts and opinions on that. Let's dive back into a little bit, Dave. We got a couple super chats here. One from Savo Fleming says, everyone is upset about not getting people out of the portal, but don't we only have a couple of scholarships left? Why are people worried about getting wide receivers? I know we got burners there and incoming. Look, I think this is a good point that we were kind of alluding to when Allie was on the show. There is only so many spots. I believe we're at 82, 83.
Yeah, last time I talked to Nick, he said we had 4 scholarships, but that could have changed since then.
And look, if you think about, and if you think, if DeAndre were to commit, that puts us to 83. There's 2 or 3 left. So that is, I think that is a factor for sure. I think that does play a factor with the recruiting class that did come in. This is kind of something I keep alluding to too. We are talking about spending and buying these cornerbacks. It's like, look, is this a guy that I'm willing to go all in on? I've got 3 spots. Do I want to take the money and put it on this guy? Is he that big of a deal? Is he that much of an impact player? And some may argue, yes, CJ Daniels is. Some may argue that the Muhammad kid from Washington is, because he's taking a visit now to Miami, and it feels like that shoe has not fallen off. We had a guy coming from Texas or somewhere. He went, I think, or he ended up committing to Texas. So we've had guys come and go that we didn't land, and the question is why. And I think that was where I was trying to get with Ali is like, look, with as many spots as we have left, like we have to kind of think of the guys that are on the team. Is it worth throwing what everybody else is throwing at them? Right? I don't. That part we don't know, and I don't think we will know probably for maybe another year. We'll see it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the strategy is here. Like I've been so confused and conflicted. Like, first of all, if we just took 3 offensive linemen, I'd be happy. Like we already took 1, but if we took 2 more, I'd be happy with that. And then you save it for some other position because I would say we need more offensive linemen. I mean, I saw a nice Alabama offensive lineman go into the portal today, and I guarantee you he ain't going to come here just because of how things are going. But somebody actually just commented too and said the Washington DB went to Miami. So that's even better because we played them game 1. So all these guys that
He
are going to
committed.
different schools, yeah, we play all these schools next year.
He committed to
And
Miami.
like if you're and if you're trying to save your job and you really like your head coach and you really want to back your head coach and you want him to save his job, you go into the portal and you get those type of guys. So yeah,
Wait, you just keep saying, yeah, he committed to Miami. That happened.
that's what they said in the chat. I haven't checked Twitter.
Oh yeah, it did 12 minutes ago.
Yeah.
See what's crazy about this, right? Is like the Michelle Powell kid. This young man, and this is where Will Harris is going to get roasted. And I wanted to talk about his tweets here as well because he's been tweeting out his chess pieces and his money bag signs, and which is getting people hyped, but then also frustrated all at the same time. I like it because it's finally a coach feeling like they're involved, but you got to execute on your tweets. And Michelle Powell was somebody that he recruited to Washington, I believe coached at Washington. So he had a relationship at Washington with him, had him come visit him. The moment he hit the portal, he tweets out some like chess pieces, and then they go, hey, the news drops he's visiting Miami, and Miami locks it down. You can't tell me that, oh, we're getting out recruited, right? And this is where it goes back to what Ali was just saying. And this is where, look, I didn't get frustrated because like this is simply just a salary miss. This isn't a recruiting miss. This isn't a relationship miss. This isn't, hey, you're going to have, this isn't a relation, like, or, a play miss. This guy has a relationship with our secondary coach. He would be a starter on this football team. He would be playing in the SEC. Like, what are we talking about here? Right? And that's where I understand the frustration. But again, if Miami's willing to, I guess, blow out of their salary cap and just give him 250 and we're only willing to give 100, I'm just making numbers up to make this thing make sense. I don't know. It could be a long year.
Yeah, I mean, he just committed to Miami, and then Will Harris texts out a chess piece and the laughing piece. And this is the thing. Everybody's getting mad at his tweets. How do we not know that he has something up his sleeve and nobody knows yet? I'm waiting. I'm going to wait. But if, like, it's a complete colossal failure, I'm going to be like, what were all these tweets about? Like, you completely failed for no reason and tweeted all this stuff out. So, I don't know. Maybe he knows something we don't know. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, he did just tweet another chess piece out, didn't he? Cheese manies. I don't know what the hell that means. That's golly. All right, $5 between the hedges says, holy shit, great point, Dave. Maybe for incoming freshmen, there should be a slot like the NFL first round.
Yeah, he's talking about like the marketing thing and all that other kind of stuff. Like your typical 5 stars, I'm pretty sure they're pretty high on the market. You're going to pay them lots of money, but I think you also, I mean, obviously with whatever salary that you have to kind of like, if you went all in on DJ Lagway and you couldn't get nothing else in the class, like why couldn't you have just taken like maybe a top 150 quarterback and then got you some offensive linemen? I have no clue. I mean, like I'm not the guy that's behind the scenes. I don't know what the actual salary looks like. I've heard numbers, I've been told numbers, but like I don't know. But at the same time, this is my point. Like if you're really, really low on number, like me and you, we've signed over 20 plus Florida Victorious members, and that was summer, spring, some in the fall. And, I've been out there. I work a full-time job. I work part-time on the weekends, and I do cover Florida too. And I go on radio shows and all that other kind of stuff. And I can still sign up members to Florida Victorious, but you have boosters out here that play golf all day and work on their golf swing and make millions in dollars every single day, and they would rather get on Twitter like Hal and not try to get other corporations like a sponsor for Florida Victorious or get other big boosters involved in here to help alleviate that problem. Because look, you're gonna get good money from guys that like normal money from us. You're gonna get good money, but it's not gonna be game changing money. You're gonna need those big boosters, those big corporations to be involved. And I think that once we get more of those involved on board, then we will be sitting prettier. And obviously, those types of people know other big time guys with money and own corporations as well. So, you know,
So
I
to
support
kind
that.
of allude to what Dave is speaking about, we were talking about this with Allie before the show. There's a tweet from Hal, who's a booster, and his tweet was broke down. It's a long tweet. I was like, I'm not reading all that. It broke down the NIL and how it's functioning, and we've talked about this, the NIL and how it works on the show 1,000 times. So I'm not going to do that. But at the end, I think he was asking for money is kind of what it came down to, which rubbed people the wrong way because they think the way that it was worded. Then Allie was saying like, look, the way he breaks it down makes sense. But we were talking before the show, and I was actually thinking about this prior to, like, Florida Victorious. The whole point of that obviously is to raise money through the fan base, right? Getting people to donate. They've got all these awesome things like the 96 Club. We've talked about it. I've had, the president come on. We've had players come on. We've promoted on the show. Like you said, we've signed up people through our link through this show. But think about the expansion of how Florida Victorious is being marketed, right? Never heard Billy talk about it, and this is what Allie was talking about. We've never heard Stricklin really promote it or talk about it. And to be fair, outside of Twitter, I don't see anything about Florida Victorious. And look, that is your pipeline. That is a person paying the bills. That is your GM. That is your Sean Codd. That is everybody, and it is legal. And it is legal for Coach Billy to literally take a mic at every game before the game starts. And this is Allie's thought. I'm not stealing her thought here. That's what she was saying. I wanted her to say, but she's not here. To basically hop him before the game starts. Like, hey guys, if you guys want to see to continue to grow and to continue to bring in elite talent, here's what you need to do. You need to take out your phone, scan the code on the big board there, and donate anything you can to Florida Victorious, because all that will go into Florida football and making it a better organization. Another point to make is Florida Victorious right now is not just for football; it's for all sports, which is fantastic. But I do know that there is other colleges creating collectives simply driven to just supporting football. Now, I remember the Gator Garb. I talked about that the other day with Hugh Hatchcock. We haven't heard much of that. Like, it is so blatant right now how easy it is. Obviously, FSU is funneling through Battle's End because the Rising Spear is the falling spear because of the situation that happened recently with them getting in trouble. But everybody's doing it. It's no secret. And I also took a look at the top collectives. I think I've already mentioned this on the show. Florida was top 5 when this thing started a year and a half ago. And it was when it was what was it before?
Gator Collective.
It was the Gator Collective. And then since it switched to Florida Victorious, we're nowhere to be found. And Florida Victorious has I would say, a better relationship with the football team than the collective did. The collective, when it was the Gator Collective, it was like the ugly sheep. Like, it was like
He also had Dad Mullen here, so.
No, the collective was here with Billy. Mullen wasn't even here for that.
It started with Mullen was here the last year when it started, but yeah, it was mainly Billy. Yeah.
So, and look, another great point is that John Paul makes a joke, but he's like, Miami recruiting strategy: target Gator recruits and outbid them. So it's the strategy that Burger King takes. McDonald's spends a bunch of money on investing and research on where to place the McDonald's. Like, what is the best place to make the McDonald's? And then Burger King goes, okay, we're just going to build it across the street. We don't have the money and resources and the technology to figure out the best spot, so we'll just follow you. Miami's like, hey, we don't really evaluate talent that well. We really don't care. We've got the beaches, so we're not going to do that. So we're going to wait till you have them on campus. And they go, okay, cool. We'll just go pay for it. Because I think we can all agree Billy has done a great job evaluating talent. We just can't seem to scoop them in. We can't seem to keep them locked in. I mean, the DJ Lagway, like the fact that we got DJ Lagway and Elgin McCray, those two guys, and both of those guys were kind of are in the lower. And Amir Jackson, who I got a lot of crap for that, so I always remind you guys for yelling at me about how much hype I gave him. These guys were low on that DJ, but LJ was a 300 plus recruit at the beginning of the year last year, and ended up being number 6. Like, that's a hell of a climb.
Same thing happened with Isaiah Bond. He was like 500, and he wound up being the number one athlete in the class by the end of the cycle. And also on that site, you can Florida Victorious did change it. If you make like a one-time donation, you can pick and choose which like where you want it to go to the football program, whatever. So they got
Interesting.
options on the site.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
So, but yeah, I mean, like it all comes down to the want, man. Like it all comes down to leadership. Like right now, I can only say so much. Like I only have so much of a following, right? So I say whatever I can out there and let people know what I can. But like you've got people like Scott Stricklin, who's the athletic director. You've got our administration. You've got Billy Napier. You've got all this. Like if you really, really, really want to do something and you really want it that bad, you'll do anything it takes to get it. And I don't see that. So it looks like there's no want to me.
Tug Gaming says when Florida starts putting wins together with the culture Billy's trying to build, then Florida will have a pick of the litter. And look, I've said that before on this show. You either got to be winning, then you don't have to spend as much. But if you're losing, you're going to have to throw up a cheddar. And we're not right now. We're not doing either. And so now we're kind of in this limbo era where we've got to find a side. And I think when you're winning and you can build a culture and people are bought in and it's also winning, yeah, you don't have to pay top dollar. But we're not there yet. So the reason that everyone's getting frustrated is like, well, how can we get there and how can we get there quickly? You have the ability to, and that is through paying them. So
I know a lot of rich people up here, but they're like Georgia Bulldogs. I live in Georgia. I can't help that.
Let's dive into. We've talked a lot about a lot of things today. Appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out with us. We've got a few more things to go over before I let you all go. Over 600 people in here. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. Again, Allie is not here for this. So I guess she didn't send me the list either. So she's probably locked up with Buddy Martin's thing. No big deal on that. Let me make you a little bit bigger. Honestly, when I was putting this together, I was like, man, having 15 guys go out, it's gonna be tough. Dave, tell them who this is sponsored by, and then I'll give you guys the rule of how we're gonna do this.
All right. We are sponsored by Devil Dog Brewing Beans. Take pride in brewing coffee blends that embody the spirit of the fearless and dedicated Marine Corps. Every sip is a celebration, strength, camaraderie, and exceptional taste, inspired by Devil Dog name, our brand, and a bold tribute to the adventurous, I guess he means ethos to the Marines. With every purchase, a small percentage goes to the Wounded Warrior Foundation. So every time you purchase coffee, it will go to support the troops or Wounded Warrior Foundation. Go to DevilDogBrewingBeans.com. High Top is the promo code. You'll save 10% on your purchase.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Go get you some coffee, boys and girls. All right, Dave. Pick
What's up, dog?
Let's do this. I've got a number underneath my hand right now. Through 1 through 10. Is that fair? 1 through 10 or 1 through 5? I'll do 1 through 5. If you get the number right, you get to pick first.
Okay, so am I going first?
You're gonna pick a number 1 through 5. You get the right number, then I just showed you. I've got it right here. I
was gonna pick 2, but I didn't see it. What did you put?
It's 2.
What?
It is 2. Oh, she just sent me her list. Man, she's good. Okay. All right,
we got that.
So if obviously you'll go, I'll go, and then I'll have her go last. So who's gonna be your breakout player? Oh, quick rules. We can't use names like Eugene, Montrell, because those guys, those aren't really breakout guys in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like they're already out. I want somebody that's not gonna be big time stuff.
Oh, well, you should have told me that before the show, Sheldon.
I know. Okay. I knew you were gonna try that, but it is what it is. Sorry, big guy.
Yeah. Kiss my ass. Okay, so number 1, it wasn't any of the people that you thought of. I'll go with Justice Boone. He's been out for a while, man. I think a lot of people have forgotten about him. I remember that big hit he laid on the Kentucky player, the guy that likes to eat mayo. But I think he's going to have a breakout season just based on the fact that, he was supposed to start, had that injury. It's kept him on the sidelines. He's a lot older now, and I think he's a lot more wiser. I think Justice Boone is going to be the biggest breakout player there on the edge. So I'm going with him.
I thought I was going to get away with one there. That's a good one. I will keep it. You know what? I'm gonna go to the secondary. I'm gonna go to the secondary, especially with Will Harris posting so many chess pieces. And you killed me with Justice Boone, bro. That was my first pick. I thought I was gonna be a lock with Justice Boone there, and be on a burner. You know what? I'm gonna say
You can pick up 2. It's your draft.
no. Once he's picked, you can't take him anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the whole point. Makes it fun. Just like I'm gonna say Devin Moore, cornerback. I feel like there's something special there. Let me go to hers. She said Treyon Webb is her first one. I almost just did Treyon Webb and I didn't even see her pick there. Love that. All right. I will go.
You got to put Trey on Webb. There you go.
I will go next, and then I'll take Allie's after that. For me, I'm gonna go. I kind of want to keep it on the edge. I'm gonna say. Let's say Kelby Collins. I don't know. I feel like I'm leaving something on the table here. She has Andy Jean. Hold on, you got what your turn, Dave.
I was
All right,
I was going to tell you the same thing you did.
Oh, that's what you're gonna go with?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
I was going to go with Kelvin Collins. Yes. I don't know. I don't know what this lineup's going to look like and who's going to start, who's not. Of course, Eugene Wilson's going to be your main wide receiver. But if he does play, I'm going to go Aiden Mazzell. I like his speed. I like his size. I like his length. I think he has elite speed. Yeah, I mean, you can obviously see that when you turn on to the tape, and the unknown is the unknown. I mean, we've seen Eugene Wilson step right in and be a main contributor. We've had Aiden Mazzell on the show. We have the fat head. I'm going Aiden Mazzell, baby, all day long.
I love it. Her next one is she's keeping the wide receiver room. Again, I'm just kind of going with how she has it. She has Shamir DK. So
Okay.
she's going
Okay.
back-to-back wide receivers. I think she's feeling good about our boy, our Heisman winner, and Graham Mertz. I got to go next. It's got to be the linebacker room. I feel like right now my team's looking pretty thick with dogs. Does Shamar James count as a breakout guy or no? Because I feel like with the injury, right, I get one. I feel like it's a steal, no? Like, new linebacker coach coming in, new strength and conditioning coach. Or should I take him off the board? Does he count, you think, or no? Because we saw what he could do last year. We saw glimpses of it. I'm leaving this up to you.
Yeah, because he did get hurt, and go ahead. You can. I would.
You got to push back on that, Dave. You got to push back on that and say no. Come on, man. I'll take.
Listen, though, he has yet to actually quote unquote break out, though.
Okay. I'm gonna take Miles
played
Graham
well.
anyways. I'm gonna take Miles Graham anyways.
I'm just kidding. But he is, yeah. I do expect him to be a good contributor. I'm gonna go TJ Searcy.
Ooh,
I think
you were actually supposed to go
that's-
next there. I messed up, but that's okay. I didn't take your guy.
like he's one of the guys that I've always like looked at, and every time he's been on the field, he's made a big impact, and I've just been waiting for him to at least get a starting role, and see what he can do. So I'm going with TJ Searcy.
I love it. All right, you're up again.
I'm up again.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Jordan Castell at the
Ooh,
safety position.
good one. I mean, you can kind of say he had a breakout year last year, but I don't, because he was a freshman, I don't mind throwing that. I mean,
Well,
at
at the beginning of the year, he looked really good. He did. I mean, like, he's going to make mistakes as a freshman, so I give him a pass on that. But, like, for the most part, he's been pretty productive. He's been more productive than any other safety we've had back there. So I'm going to go with Jordan Castell.
Sure. I'm going to switch it up here. Well, not switch. I mean, it's still on the team. Give me Najee Harris, guard. It's look, right now it's looking like it's his job. It's his job to lose. Again, it's breakout. I like this one a lot. She is taking LJ McCray as her next pickup. That's a good one there. You just went first, right? So I go now. My last pick. Who do I want to wrap up my team for breakout player? She did Shamir DK. I'm gonna go D line. I'm gonna go Slackman.
Okay. Yeah. Transfer.
It's Joey Slackman, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And her last one is Pup Howard. So she threw a linebacker play in there as well too. Good stuff.
Yep.
And then who is your
Two
last pick,
guys
big guy?
guys have gotten from the portal. My last pick. This is gonna sound weird, but I did have him. Did have him at number 5, and he's been on the roster for quite some time.
Okay.
I'm going with Derek Wingo. Got a lot of experience, older. I mean,
Really?
I know he got laid out by that linebacker in the LSU game. I know that he's had plenty of position coaches in his career. I'm ready to see Derek Wingo make an impact, man. Like I've got to see it. You've been here forever. You've got to break out at some point. And I'm a big Derek Wingo fan anyway because I've interviewed him before. I think he's really cool. So I'm gonna pick Derek.
DJ Daniels might have the pick of the draft. Keon Zipperer. That might be the honorable mention. Look, I mean, when I think it's a cool thing. We have so many potential breakout players. It could be a little scary. Let us know down in the comments, guys, who won the break, who has the best team of like potential breakout, like which 5 has the most for breakout. Look, honorable mention. Obviously, Pyburn was somebody that I had, but start thinking about it. This is where I wanted to go. I wanted to put Gregory Smith in there. I feel like that might be a little bit of a reach, so I left him off. People were saying DJ Lagway in the comments. To me, it's I don't feel like unless something happens to Mertz, he doesn't have the opportunity. So yes, obviously it's a big breakout, but I think if you're thinking about a draft stock of like potential breakout, I think his is lower than these people. That's my thought.
Now, do you think we see DJ Lagway at some point this year though? Not like maybe taking turns with Mertz at some point, like for running plays.
I don't think so. I just don't see that in Billy's arsenal. Jakeem Jackson, that's another good pick. Look, I think you could I honestly with Devin Moore, Jakeem Jackson, you could have went elsewhere. I think the Derek Wingo probably pick was a little out in left field there, Davey. I felt like you probably could have had a few better options than Wingo. I like Wingo.
Hey, look, it's his time. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I've seen him here too long. It's his time.
Okay, I love it. Pyburn's another one. Look, I think Pyburn, we saw Pyburn a lot due to Boone going down. I think he might be overlooked with LJ and these other guys coming in. That's my thought. So we'll see. I heard him say in an interview, Nape told him he was going to play in every game. That's what Mitchell just said. I don't know. I'm assuming DJ Lagway.
Oh, well.
Cam Carroll, I don't know if Cam Carroll is going to see much of the football field. Look, I almost put Cannon Daniels on there. I feel like Cannon Daniels is going to be an interesting one. King Malik says Allie won. How Allie wins, he's not even here, is crazy to me. Look, I think Trey Webb's a good one. I think LJ and Pup. I think Annie Jean and Shamir DK. I feel like she might have that's the weak part. I think it's close though. I think it's close.
Yeah, I was going to pick Jakeem Jackson, but man. Wingo, come on, man. You've been here forever.
I love it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was fun. This was it's different, obviously. But this was a good time. I hope you guys enjoyed this little change of speed, I guess. Abrams. Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. It's a good one.
He said Cam Carroll, but I mean you said don't get guys that obviously whatever. So that's why I didn't pick Cam Carroll. You confused me, Sheldon.
King Malik says if they're not moving Wingo to edge, then he got to go. It's an interesting thought that they could be moving him to edge with the amount of linebackers coming in.
Did you see the advertisements for Florida Victorious for some of the players? They had them at like different spots.
Yeah, Kelby Collins was that linebacker.
Yep, outside.
Yeah, and maybe what was Wingo's? Do we know? Can we pull it up? Can we do a quick search, Davey?
He's
on there.
I don't even know. Is he? I'll look. I'll go look for you real quick while you entertain the
yeah, I got you.
The crowd.
Ed Dupree says all 3 are winners. To be fair, I feel like most of us for Allie, I didn't have to go to. She gave me her 5 and nobody even picked her 5. You only took Justice Boone, who I wanted. I liked TJ Searcy too, but I went with Kelby Collins. To me, I kind of looked at him in the same light. I wasn't really high on the wide receivers. I feel like other players are going to have bigger years, but I think I probably overlooked the wide receivers. There's going to be somebody who has to have a breakout year outside of Eugene Wilson. Like they have to, right? So I may have missed on that one.
Man,
outside linebacker is also an edge. Yeah, but for him not to say edge and out linebacker, it just said linebacker. I don't even think it said outside linebacker, did it? Or did it? For Kelby Collins.
God, I just scrolled past him. I'm looking for Wingo right now. I'll go find him real quick.
Thank you for reminding me, Ricky. Yes, it is my wife's 30th birthday today, so I'm going to tell her happy Wednesday. She's not watching, but she is 30. So happy birthday. We had a good day today. Her and I, we went and watched the new Willy Wonka movie.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
says hard-hitting linebackers always make an impact. Excited to have Kelby Collins.
Okay, what about Derek Wingo?
Hard-hitting. I'm still looking.
Okay. It's yeah, I mean there's you've got a long list to go. While you're looking, let's dive into the tweets of the week. Yeah, Davey?
Let's go, baby.
Alrighty. Man, I gotta change this background here. All right, it's your boy, the Alabama.
Willie,
Yes.
just got the news, didn't we, Willie?
Yeah. I ain't too excited about that.
I know it, but look here. All good things come to an end.
Yeah, but my main man is stepping down.
I know it, but
The
listen.
greatest coach there is.
I know it.
Can't anybody beat him.
I know it. Look, listen. He's the greatest coach there ever was. He's the greatest. He'll go down as the greatest coach ever. Listen to me. But listen,
This right here hurts.
I know it hurts you, and it hurts me. It hurts every Bama fan. And everybody that's not a Bama fan should appreciate the greatness that he's done for
the
college
man,
football.
he is the greatest coach of all.
He's the greatest one there ever was.
Bro, this man's in shambles, bro. It's brutal.
He's like, ain't nobody ever beat him.
Brutal. That's Dave's boy, so we had to show it. This right here is gold. So the tight end coach from Georgia who ratted out the FSU for cheating tweeted like literally like the day after all this broke, tweeted this the Seminole. He's in Folkestone, has a Seminole tomahawk, and he tweeted it out.
Oh shucks. Yeah. Dude, if you go with the quote tweets, man, it's brutal. Like it's so brutal. I'm sure he muted the conversation. Hey, look at my gift. See that?
Good stuff. I love it. I love it. Absolute troll there. Reggie Bush on Instagram commented once Nick Saban retired, NIL ran him away. He has no more control over 5-star recruits. The playing field is level, and he can't handle that. I have been preaching that for the last 2 years, that this man's time is coming to an end, because I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it forever. He had his hand in the cookie jar for so long. Now the cookie jar no more. It's a buffet style, and he can't control that. So I firmly believe, I 100% agree with this. And it's not a shot. Like, he probably is a little old and tired, but like the game is changing. And this is my point of the youth movement, that like the older coaches that are refusing to adapt, like the Dabo, it's either eat or be eaten.
And I will say, that, like, it's not like Nick Saban was recruiting at like a lackluster level, but he was not hitting those number one classes every year.
Say that again?
I said it's not like Nick Saban was recruiting at a lackluster rate or anything like that, because he was always getting like one, like in the top 3, but like he wasn't getting those number one classes every year like he used to get like every single year.
Sure, it was sliding for a little bit. It's been sliding for sure. Spiriticus says FSU Twitter, congratulations to Miami for getting our second choice DJU. Gonna put a belt to that ass. And then he before this in December, that was January 13th. On December 16th, he ran a poll. Who do y'all want? And 64% voted for Cam Ward, while 30% voted for DJU. And obviously, this is all FSU fans voting on this. So this was gold. This was a good one here. I love anytime FSU's down.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, like, I've had tweets where old takes exposed. Everybody's done it, but like, yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's a good one. I love old takes. Looks like we got 3 inches so far. This one you're gonna have to just see, boys. I'm not describing that one. I loved it. Somebody tagged me in, and I saw that. Geez, Dallas Cowboy fans are fed up. Yeah, Dallas and Eagle fans, bro, they're hot, bro. They were spicy this weekend after taking their 2 L's. This is great. It's daily reminder Mario Cristobal is going to ruin Cam Ward. It's the Grim Reaper with all the quarterbacks that Mario has destroyed. Cam Ward's next, boys. Van Dyke.
Wait, we got Tyler Van Dyke.
I love it. These last 2 are golds. Bro, Lane Kiffin stays undefeated. So Bro Bible wrote an article Five-star wide receiver snubs Kalen DeBar to flex new Lamborghini at Texas. Fucking link it and retweets it.
He's dude. I love as much as like he kind of trolled us in the past, dude. I love it. Like
Uh,
he, he would do exactly what I would be doing if I was like a head coach of a team.
yeah, like what are we doing? Unbelievable. I'm so glad you sent this. This was wild to me. The reporter just gets like it's like she didn't have a question ready, so she's like, "This is a no-brainer. Like it's easy. Let me just go to this. This is the question for Todd Bowles. Take a listen.
Coach, looking forward towards Detroit. The weather has been a factor in some of the playoff games, even for the most prepared teams. Today, it's 13 in Detroit, which doesn't compare to some of the temperatures we tend to drop to. Any special plans to acclimate the team to not only endure, but perform in those kind of frigid temperatures should you face them in Detroit?
You do know we play indoors, right? And they got a dome. I don't. No, nothing planned. We're indoors, and we only have to be outside for 20 seconds, getting off the bus, going under the thing. So we'll be okay.
Bro, what a I you know what I wish? I wish somebody else would have got that question. Like Mike McDaniels. Like like he was being polite, like, you serious? You fucking with me?
I don't know, like if that was a new reporter or like maybe she's not used to being in the area and didn't know that enclosed, but that is pretty funny.
That was rough. Let's before we wrap up, let's go around the league really quick. What's going on in Bama, man?
What do you mean?
Everyone's
Players
leaving.
leaving?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that's gonna happen. Normal, like a lot of you got to think. Nick Saban, has won for so long, so many national championships, and a lot of kids go to Alabama just for Nick Saban. I mean, like when you win, and you win a lot, and win at an elite level like he has, like you'll take less NIL to go play for Nick Saban. Like when Nick Saban's gone, you're like, well, now I might as well just cash out somewhere else because he's gone, and he said he was going to be here, and he made a last-minute decision to retire.
So Josh Newberg actually tweeted out something pretty fantastic. He got roasted for it, which people were kind of like looking at the situation wrong. If you actually know Newberg, he's a big FSU fan, so it's not like he's saying this in defense for Alabama, but he's like, the way the system is now is broken. And I have to agree with him because Alabama is being absolutely just ravaged through. I mean, they can't stay afloat because they have the new 30-day transfer portal where with the coach leaving that they're wide open for business. And so here comes DeBoer, shows up to campus, and he's high-fiving all the players on the way out. And guess what? He has nothing he can do because the portal's already been ran through, and maybe somebody who would have entered because, with DeBoer going to Alabama can't enter anymore. There is still guys out there that haven't found a home, but let's be honest. The ones that haven't found a home probably ain't going to find one, or they weren't the first pick for anybody's draft anyways. So now Bama is in this basically wide open to be cut open. Washington's in the same boat. If Michigan loses Harbaugh, they're going to be in the same boat. If LSU loses Brian Kelly to Michigan, they're going to be in the same boat. Now, those schools can kind of pass back and forth. But man, I have to agree with him that like I got his point of like this something has to change here because you're putting a cap on it, but coaches can leave whenever they want. Right? And they can leave somebody just high and dry, and that's kind of what's happening to Bama. Now, I think with another interesting point too, it was a head scratcher for me. We talked about it last show. I've been kind of quiet because I know I can be like an idiot sometimes. I don't know like every crook and cranny of college football. And Kalen DeBoer, to be honest with you, wasn't too familiar with him. Obviously outside of coaching Washington, and even then, I can't say that I was I know a lot about Kalen DeBoer. But if you look at his track record, there's not much there. The guy has 105 wins. He's a proven winner. Yes, that's Sioux Falls or Sioux Falls. I'm probably saying that incorrectly in South Dakota. He was there for like 7 years, and then he went to Fresno State, went 3-6 and like 7-3, and they got the job at Washington and crushed it at Washington. He had massive success very early on, not taking any of those things away. Also had Michael Penix, who, what came first, chicken or the egg? Did he make Michael Penix or Michael Penix make him? You can argue whatever you want, because obviously he went to Indiana, didn't do those things. But this is to me, everyone's making it seem like it's a knockout hire. Are they saying that because it's Alabama and they're not going to question the decision of Alabama make? Because I wonder, what I think about is like if Florida made this hire, what would Florida fans be doing? I'm sure they'd be excited at first, but if what was happening to Alabama would be happening to Florida, I think people would be losing it right now. No, am I crazy?
Usually when there's like a new hire, there's gonna be people that like it and don't like it, but like the people that like it usually just say, okay, well, I'm gonna try to look at the positives. So they go and look at the positives, and then a month goes by or a couple of months goes by, and then you look at the recruiting, and then you look at the start of the season, and then you're like, okay, yeah, we made a mistake. So like you can feel good about a recruit or not a recruit, a hire, but like at the end of the day, he's still got to perform and he's still got to prove himself. He's a new guy. So of course, a lot of kids they're gonna leave, but like, and a lot of the fans are gonna get upset. And all that they should have known that this was coming anyway. Like when look, I've been through like 4 or 5 fired head coaches. All right, so I've been through the mud. I've been dragged through like a lot of crap, just like all of us. Kids leave when a coach gets fired. That's just what happens. And Alabama fans have not had to deal with that in like 15 years. So like I can understand the frustration from the fans, but you know, nothing lasts forever. Like there's nothing lasts forever in life. Like you either get it and it lasts a long time or you get it once and then it goes. But like you can always get it back, but it's going to take a minute for Alabama.
And
Like
so
it's just
this should be a sign, I would say, to Florida fans, like, hey, look, like this what happens if we fire another coach. I don't think we've seen we haven't witnessed the portal started when Billy came in, but it wasn't to the level that it is right now. The rules were a little bit tightened than what it is. So if we're to lose Billy, and the timing of it obviously makes a factor in who we're able to bring in and how quickly we're able to bring them in. You see what's happening, right? So
Mhm.
it's and this is what I said. I said, look, like the world of flipping coaches, I think it's going to change a little bit because if you're watching this, no school wants to be in this predicament right now. And think about Alabama. They're not only are they losing this recruiting class from 2024, they're losing their top performers that just damn near made a championship game. They're all gone now with a new coach. So, and this is what I was saying when he left. I go, look, Bama's going to come back to down to reality really quick. And if you think that DeBoer is going to go out there and land himself a top 10 class this 2025 cycle, you're crazy. I mean, he could. I'm not saying he can't. It's going to be weird not seeing Bama up in the top 10, but it's going to be, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. We've never seen Washington in the top, so I don't, either obviously they wouldn't be, but I think he made his living kind of like Norvell in the transfer portal. Well, he doesn't have that right now. So he's going to have to wait this entire cycle, then get back into the portal. And look, maybe next year they'll bounce back to what we know Bama has. But this is what I kept saying. I just don't see Bama being, they went through a rut after Bear Bryant for about 30 years. They could go back to being the Auburn very quickly, and I think like that's a true reality. And look, and this is also again like I know we all hate Billy and we want things to change, but it's like the things that I do like is that hey, we're bought in. There's a culture, and every time we interview players, like they excite me. They make some changes. I don't know, man. That watching Bama it's Bama, right? And watching them just get absolutely just massacred in the portal, son.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like a new day and age. When Bama took over, I was 24. I'm 39 now.
Golly.
But yeah, think about it. Think about it though. Like think about like if there was no transfer portal to NIL, like that head coach that took the Alabama job is
cake.
is rolling in talent. Like I mean, like he's got a
Cake.
good start. He'll look really, really good for 2 or 3 years. They'll be talking about him being the greatest coach on the face of this planet. More kids will want to come to Alabama, and he's in a good spot. But now, the way that they have it set up now, like if you fire a head coach, you might as well just say goodbye to your whole team for the most part. Like you might as well just say gone. Like so, like we were talking about this earlier. Like what if Billy Napier does get fired? Does DJ Lagway stick? Does LJ McCray stick? Does Eugene Wilson stick? Like all the good players that we have. Like if he's gone, where do they go? Do they stay? Do they wait for the next head coach?
Well, that's my point too, right? Because everyone's calling for his head. So you could argue one of the most prestige colleges in Alabama, what has been for the last 20 years, just lost Nick Saban the GOAT. And it's like you said, he's not walking into a plethora of talent. And I think and I was saying this when it happened. Everyone's like, oh, these guys are going to go. And at first I thought Dan Lanning was going to be the job. But then when he denied it, I go, wait a minute. This job isn't that appealing. It's not as appealing as people want to make it appear. Not, and people are saying, "Oh, it's following Saban." No. That's part of it, but it's because they're walking into a brand new business. It's not like they're going to come in with the same coworkers, the same. It's basically just a shell of what it was, and all you're doing is you have the logo on the front. That's all you got working for you, and that wasn't the same in years past. So it's like Dan Lann's like, why would I leave my employees to go to nobody? Like I've built this thing here. Well, I'm gonna go start over again? Hell no. And so again, I asked that's the same thing I pushed to Florida fans. Like, we fire Billy, everyone's like, oh, we can go get so and so. You just saw A&M and Alabama, who clearly who's not shy about throwing money, couldn't land any dog in the sea. I promise you, Elko wasn't A&M's first choice, and I promise you, DeBoer wasn't Alabama's first choice. And everyone out here thinking we can go just get who we want. I like Jed Fish was everybody's Lord and Savior. He just went to Washington. So who's next? That's why I kept asking. If not Billy, then who? You're going to go get yourself another version of Billy and be in another 2 to 3 year cycle.
Yeah, I think it's easier to, like, if you have you have a coach that's not doing what he's supposed to do and you're losing games and he's failing and you fire him and you bring in a new one, I think it's easier to build your class and build it up as opposed to having somebody like a Nick Saban or like maybe a Kirby Smart or one of those guys to leave a program, because then all of that lore, you're going to bring a new guy in, but he hasn't really done anything. So it's like, unless you get I think their first choice was like a Dan Lanning, that may have saved some of those kids from that class.
For
but
sure.
Like this guy, like you said, coming from Washington and never really hardly has any SEC experience, and he's coming into Alabama to take that job over. Like, of course, like a lot of kids will probably leave.
Yeah, and look, I think, and some people may not like to hear it, and even Andrew Apple just said, he goes, Shell, that's why I'm not calling for Billy's head. If you get a new coach today, you lose your team and you have a 3-year rebuild. I mean, it's inevitable at this point. And so, look, if you look at the guys that are coming in, I think in a weird way, I was thinking about this today. It's almost like, yes, we have to spend money, but it's almost like, hey, just the good old style recruiting, it's gonna help in the long run. It's gonna take time to get there, but establishing relationships, building relationships is what is going to maintain success, like Georgia has, because you'll be able to hang on to the core. You're always going to have those top talents that have their own ego that are always going to leave. But if you can build a core and you can fix those main pieces, that's where you need to be. That is where I think the college football is headed, which is kind of what it's always been, right? Like that was always the goal. You built through recruiting, and once you can maintain that, you lose classes, but you're constantly just replacing it with new talent and younger talent that can step right in. We have to get back to that. And then when we're in a place, we can go out and be aggressive in the portal when need be. To just constantly fix and replace in the portal, I don't see that being a long-term success. Maybe for a couple of years, but I think ultimately you're going to have to continue to build through the recruiting cycle and create relationships and hang on to guys for quite some time. So I know people hearing it, but again, if you just watch the movie that Bama is going through, that's the future. If you want Billy gone at the end of the year, we're gonna be Bama. We're gonna be worse than Bama because we didn't have 5 years of the top 3 class in a row.
Well, I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, the big booster money is what really moves the needle. I mean, big booster money will move the needle in you getting the players that you need for your head coach to survive. So now, if you're telling people like us, like normal people, which we're going to do our job here, but it's not going to really move the needle much, but it still helps. So every little bit counts. But like, you're going to tell people that like, okay, well, this guy, we're going to overpay for this guy. He's too much. So what do you think you're going to do when your head coach gets fired? You're going to overpay for his buyout, and then you're going to have to pay another head coach. So why not just take what you have right now, spend it on the players so you don't even have to go through that mess? It's not rocket science.
Look, guys, I think we're all in this together. I mean, I think everyone has their opinion about it. That's why, I mean, Allie, she has her side. And it's great to kind of to bounce things off her and talk to her about it. Again, y'all know how I am. I'm the sunshine pumper. But I'm more so just try to look at where it's headed and try to look. I always say we all want the same damn thing. We want to win. But it's very interesting to watch. Again, I think Josh Newberg, and he got roasted for it, which just shows how people read things a certain way. about what Alabama is going through, because not only are they losing everybody, but DeBoer is in a situation where he can't even rebuild. So you literally are taking a losing season and just having to eat it. There will be a second portal cycle, right? But you're still behind the 8 ball. I mean, regardless. And what's even crazier, dude, is look, like you're in two camps. You're either really good and you're able to get guys out of the transfer portal and you still spend the money, or you suck and you have to throw a ton of money at it. That's how you get guys. Georgia is good and has money, and it's like every best player that was at Alabama is either going to Georgia or Texas right now. Like, just the rich get richer. And Ohio State, Michigan, they're not. I mean, it's unreal.
You know what's funny? Like when Nick Saban retired, everybody was all excited. They're like, "Oh, nobody's going to steal our players from Florida or anything like that." I was like, "No, it's just going to be Kirby Smart taking it all now."
Yeah, it's Nick Saban 2.0, right? I mean,
right.
And look, I mean, what Georgia's done a great job of is they're established, right? I mean, they've got the base, and we're obviously that's what Florida is trying to do. And look, maybe Billy isn't the guy, right? I mean, I'm not trying to say that he is. And again, obviously, there's a lot of frustration, but everyone has their opinion about the UAA. It's a headache. It's round and round, day in and day out of how we fix this thing.
Well, it all comes down to leadership. It's lacking leadership across the board, and that's why you're seeing what you're seeing right now.
For sure. Well, guys, fantastic show. I mean, it feels like forever ago. We had Mr. Jalen Wiggins on. I hope you guys enjoyed all of it. I appreciate all of you guys in here. We had almost 500 people in here for most of the time. It was a longer show, but for good reason. I anticipated it because we had Jalen Wiggins, which added the extension. But phenomenal young man, really cool, able to pick his ear and talk with him for a little bit. And just, again, to kind of, it's always cool to see what the future is going to be like for Florida. And it feels like he's a lock. I know people, have their thoughts and opinions what's going to happen, but he feels orange and blue through and through. Now, obviously, and I remember, I think a quote even said, he goes, "Look, outside the coaching noise, I'm committed to the university." He said that, not me just feeling. It was out of a quote from one of the On3 things. So, Dempsey Birmingham Films, his first live show, boys. Well, welcome to the show, Dempsey. You're in for a treat. Professor says, don't forget High Top Sports recruit and breakdown a lot of teams, including the Florida Gators. Absolutely, boys and girls. We're like 3 or 2 away from 1,700. So go show that channel some love. We're doing some great, my second favorite team right now is the Oregon Ducks and Dan Lanning. I love me some Dan Lanning. That recruiting class is disgusting to look at. So Notre Dame.
I was gonna say a little shout out to Professor, man, getting them subs up, man. Gotta give him some props.
He's hustling, man. He's doing a great job. He's putting a lot of time and a lot of effort into it. So I love that kid to death, man. He's doing a great job. But hey, man, love you guys. Be good. Great show. Thank you, Andrew. Prayers for Linky. Yes, prayers for Linky. He is in the hospital. Much prayers and love for him. You guys keep your eyes and ears peeled. Hopefully we'll get some good news and a commit maybe in the next couple of days. And if we do, what we do. We suit up over here, boys and girls. So until next time, I'm Shelton. Boogity, 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 boys. Y'all be good. I love you.